Donald Trump gave a speech that the White House had billed as a major speech on American elections.
Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it.
The White House had said that Donald Trump was going to reveal new bombshells about the American electoral system and declassify new intelligence that would show interference in the 2020 presidential election. And in the end, Donald Trump didn't do that. He made several claims. The first was that China had interfered in the 2020 election.
The People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files.
The White House didn't say how China obtained that information. Many states allow anyone to purchase voter information, so it wasn't clear exactly how that was election interference. The U.S. intelligence community already concluded in 2021 that China did not interfere in the 2020 presidential election. They said that China had thought about it, but ultimately decided against it. And there's nothing that Donald Trump has released so far that really contradicts that claim. Another claim that Donald Trump talked about was the idea that a voter registration organization in Michigan had submitted fraudulent voter registration applications.
The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names.
And while that sounds sinister, if you look under the surface, this is an allegation that was already investigated by law enforcement in Michigan, and the local clerk there had actually identified that these registration applications were problematic and prevented them from being processed, and there was no fake ballots that were issued. It's actually an example of the system working. The fraudulent information was caught. Something else Donald Trump talked about was that he claimed his Department of Homeland Security had identified more than 270,000 non-citizens on the rolls in 4 states.
The real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote.
And even if that were true, even if there were 270,000 non-citizens on the rolls, there are more than 200 million people registered to vote in the United States. So we're talking about a tiny, tiny fraction. And study after study has shown that voter fraud is extremely rare, and including voter fraud by non-citizens is extremely rare, and that when non-citizens get registered to vote, it's usually because of administrative error or confusion and not an attempt to commit fraud. In support of these claims, Trump released a tranche of documents on the White House website that are formally classified intelligence that he says support his claims of election interference. And looking through those documents, it's clear that that's actually not the case. Some of these documents contain allegations that China was trying to interfere to hurt Joe Biden, or other allegations that China actually wasn't interfering in the election. So there's a lot of new stuff out there, a lot of new documents, but they don't actually support Trump's claims. The bigger takeaway from this speech is that Donald Trump is trying to undermine confidence in US elections. His party, Republicans, are expected to lose seats in the November election, and Donald Trump is ceding the ground to try and challenge the election results, make it so that Americans are suspect of the results that come out in November and think that there's something amiss with their election. And that's very, very destabilizing to our election system and American democracy.